everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Lucid's 2022 Tournament Game 4, where we are playing Nazca. This is turn 105. It's fucking go time, baby. And not a moment too soon, because things are getting sketchy when it comes to Dominion. We'll talk about that. We'll go over all of that as the turn kind of unfolds. But let's just jump into things, shall we? We've got, at the top of the turn, a bunch of little, like, last-minute fixes. We got some empowerments. We're teleporting people around, cloud trapezing around, that type of thing. We did a little Curse of Blood, because let's get one vampire into the mix, shall we? But things that we can actually report on, we have a mental attack against Asham the Lich. But Asham managed to resist the attack, so that's a Mind Hunt win for us. And then a Disease Demon comes in swinging at fucking Malqui Priest. So let's see how this goes, right? Blesses himself up. Disease Demon's gonna come down. Fortunately, as a plague carrier, our undead Malqui Priest doesn't really give two shits about that, but does give, you know, a little bit of a care about the 14 damage touch of leprosies. So that's a little sketchy. We'll see how this goes. Oh, Hand of Death is how it goes. That always surprises me. Every time I see a Hand of Death come out and just insta-gib, like, a Disease Demon or something like that, I'm always like, wait, what? What the fuck just happened? Yay, Hand of Death for the win. Good job. And yeah, so that's remotes for the turn. Mind Hunt, 1 win, 0 losses. Disease Demon, 1 win, 0 losses. Good for us. It's, well, we'll take the wins where we can get them, because we're gonna need them. Alright. Into the battle section, shall we? Let's see how this turn goes. Most of these, none of these we're declaring our big attacks this turn. So most of these are just little tiny battles here. They're raiding back and forth. So let's see how we do. We attack in Mins. We teleported a golem out there, and we're not really expecting much out of this golem. He does not have a very defensible kit. He is not really designed to do anything other than potentially catch someone with a soul slay. And, oh, there's a shit ton of crap here. So, I mean, he might catch someone with a soul slay. It just might just, I don't know, be a random PD or something. And we soul slayed something. Looks like a thrall. And did we get a heavy cab? So that got us, yay, we got 1 thrall and 2 heavy cabs. Congratulations. Okay, that didn't get us anything. We were hoping to, like, snag a Van Jarl or something like that there, but targeting is what targeting is. We get to witness Ulm attacking Vanheim in Green Coast. A little vampire coming in hot. The whole bunch of... Oh, he's Wind of Deathing. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Wind of Death. Pengear Wind of Death, too. Eye of the Void. Rune Smasher. Hell yeah. 4-pin Wind of Death. Up against here, well, not really much. Cast Wind of Death like 15 times? Well, I can say that went... I mean, that went in Ulm's favor. Jeez. He only got the Einhairs. He didn't get the Windmaster or the Shaman with 3 Winds of Death. 3 pinned Winds of Death. Oof. Well, a win's a win. Vanheim attacks us in Packwoods. So this is the second time this has happened. I think Van the player has watched a couple of the videos in the past, not trying to like get information, but just, you know, watching videos, and has seen us with these dire wolves in this location. I think Van is just having some fun, including the dire wolves in the fight, and I do in the overall game, and I do appreciate that because otherwise they were basically not getting included. Calls in a lesser horror. Did we not also not fly this? The fucking, I swear to God, the AI is such an asshole. Who the fuck did we fly? Okay, we did enlarge ourselves. Cool. And we gift of flight? No. Who did we gift of flight? What the fuck? Surely we didn't get to fly anything the way the fuck over here. Like, there's no way the range is that long. Did our gift of flight just fail, or am I not seeing it? What in the world? What the hell? So our gift of flight just failed? Is that what's happening here? I'm confused. Again, not that it would matter, right? Like, this guy's gonna get... we wouldn't have been able to swallow him anyways, but, like, he's gonna get hit and just retreat anyways. But, like, what the fuck? It feels like such bullshit. I'm very confused by that. Okay. Somebody plinks him, sends him off. Kills 17 direwolves. Good job, direwolves. You did your duty. Thank you for including the direwolves. We attack just with a little stack of Hatan Runa. Ooh, there is a Pazuzu, the Plague Lord here. Got some sheds. Got a couple of Storm Demons. Got a Vanyarl. Got a Harib Seraph over here. Little fucking stack of shit. Natural Storm up from Pazuzu means the Hatan Runa can't do anything. Come on in, hot. It's fine. That was in Questria. Caused the death of 9 of his raptors. Whatever. This is the... in all honesty, the just random raids with Hatan Runas are, again, extremely low commitment. They cost us almost nothing. But 2, they do cause, like, little weird casualties like this, or like, we'll occasionally snag a mage or something like that. So they're not... They're ineffective, right? But they're not without a point or without reason. So that was that. We see Vanheim attacking at Mudwood. So this is interesting. We've got the Pelagian big Soul Vortex Communion, right? Got a bunch of Storm Demons, got a bunch of Fiends of Darkness in the back. Some Tarts, right? So this is kind of interesting. 2 Tarts, a bunch of Fan Jarls, many of them kitted out, a couple of other miscellaneous things, a Shaman, a Nature Enchantress. So we can see Weapons of Sharpness coming out over here, which is going to be a big fucking deal on these Fiends of Darkness, right? See how this goes. Okay, I don't know what just happened there. Oh, I assume I know what happened here. I bet. So these sea trolls, you would assume are gonna be bodyguarding some mages, pearl mages or mystics or things like that, because they're great for that for Soul Vortex, right? And that's what Pelagia had set up, but now that we've seen these guys move forward, we can see there's not a whole lot of fucking mages in this little clump. And I can tell you why there's not a whole lot of mages in this fucking clump. And that's probably because Vanheim, Murdering Winter, Flames from the Skies, this fucking stack. We can see there's damage all across all of these corpse constructs, right? So this might not have been a full barrage, but there were obviously like at least one, probably a few remote attacks. So my assumption being maybe Murdering Winter, right? Because these Pearl Mages are not immune to that. These Mystics I do not think are immune to that, no. So probably Murdering Winter and maybe like one Flames to the Sky or so. Maybe just a single Murdering Winter though. But like Murdering Winter probably would not have done any damage to the corpse constructs. So since all of these corpse constructs have a little bit of damage, or a lot of them have a little bit of damage, I would assume that there was at least a Flames from the Sky. There could have been several. But regardless, what that means is most of Pelagia's Soul Vortex Communion shenanigans is fucked. All of these Sea Trolls are now untethered, so they're just running forward. Which is fine, but not great, because that means that there's less of the mass, of the critical mass, for these Soul Vortex to kind of like heal the remaining Mystics, and I'm assuming probably they're gonna lose some spells, not have the high path boosting that the Communion otherwise would have had. So yeah, just really not great. Wailing Winds goes up from a Vanadrot, Darkness goes up from a Lich. This is versus Fiends of Darkness that have all been boosted and have fucking Weapons of Sharpness up, I think, right? So a bunch of Storm Demons in the background. This is really bad. This is really, really, really bad. Which is really unfortunate. Maybe these Triton Kings can make a difference, though. They are pretty stacked units. But I say that with these Fiends of Darkness having Weapons of Sharpness up, they're gonna get cut through. And they get routed anyways. Yeah. This is I've talked about this. I think I've talked about this a number of times. This is kind of what I'm expecting to happen to us, right? Is that this stack from Pelagia, if we went back and looked at it last turn, I'm assuming they're missing probably 100 or more units out of the stack now, right? This stack was a threatening stack, but late game Murdering Winter, Flames from the Sky does not care. And again, I feel like that kind of forces, it pigeonholes the meta for me, right? It further encourages the concepts of leaning on things like Storm Demons, Fiends of Darkness, right? Because they have high HP pools primarily. Corpse constructs are in there as well. Vine ogres are in there as well. There's a couple of things that have like really high fire resistance that are in there. And then most of the other troops that you could utilize are just sitting ducks to Flames from the Sky. Murdering Winter somewhat harder to utilize, but still kind of like in that same canister. And then, of course, there's the alternative of if you have units like giants, right, that are also good end game units. That's fair. I think Flames from the Sky needs to have a cap, right? Like I feel like it should only be able to affect a certain amount of units. I talked about this previously, how it hits half of everything in the army, right? Whether that army is 200 strong or 2,000 strong, it will hit half of everything in the army. If you could kind of pad your armies with chaff units, crap units, etc., to kind of push yourself over the threshold of something like a Flames from the Sky. If you were to say Flames from the Sky hits half of all, I think I've said this before, if it hits half of all units in the province up to 500, right? Then that means you could plug an army like this from Pelagia, which was probably closer to 300 or 400 strong already. You could shove a bunch of skeletons in there. You could shove a bunch of wave warriors in there. You could shove a bunch of whatever, Atlantean militia, slingers, right? It doesn't matter, to help soak up some of the damage from something like a capped Flames from the Sky. Because as it is right now, it is 100% a defender's game in the late game, it feels like. Obviously, there are ways to get around certain things, and there are certain unit types. But again, those certain unit types pigeonhole you into a specific meta, which I think is, for a game like Dominions 5, kind of stale, kind of bland, right? Like, I think it's a little annoying that the late game of almost every Dominions 5 game that you see get casted is, oh, well, this is the really big blood nation in the late game. You know? Right? It's like, okay, that's a thing. And that's not me hating on the skill or anything like that, or players' choices or anything. Players should play the things that, one, that they enjoy, but also, two, the things that are going to work. So, this makes perfect sense from Van. Logical attack, great, well done. I just think it's bland. I think it's somewhat boring that the answer, what I feel like is going to be the likely answer to all of Vanheim's problems, is going to be, well, can I nuke this thing 3 times? Fingers crossed. Anyways, that's a really unfortunate loss for Pelagia, but Mudwood, that might actually be really important for us. So we'll come back around to that. We get attacked in Bara. So this is the little mercenary army, which I love. I enjoy that Vanheim is doing things that don't really matter at the same time as doing things that matter. So we got a bunch of Hatenruna falling backline. We're getting destroyed by these knights. We're not actually doing that good a job against the Marrow. We've got a lot of Long Dead here as well, though, coming out. And we might... Hey! We won! Nice. We defeated the combined mercenary armies. It only took us 50 Hatenruna and 13 Long Dead. Yeah! Whatever. It works. Fair enough. So that was Bara. Alm attacks in Trackless Wastes. Little stack of Master Smiths. Looks like they're summoning Earth Power. Doing some Earth Elementals? That's a little weird. Oh. Oh no. Their Earth Elemental, like, shield wall got, like, thrown to the side after those Air Elementals. And so just basically left them completely open. Unfortunate. 6 Master Smiths down there. Van attacks in Trandus. Little Van Jarl. Little PD. It's classic. Air Elemental comes in. And they're not going to do anything to a single Van Jarl that has a base kit. So easy fucking peasy. We attack in Old Man Mountains, trying to take our territory back. We have a little stack of Supayas and Huacas and some Sun Guard. We got a little Huron Priest here. We've got an Inca hanging out here as well. We also have a Pakwo. We're going to keep eyes on this motherfucker because he is casting Gift of Flight. Puts it on himself. Does get the gelatinous cube this time. So we are 1 for 3 on that working. But at least we've proven to ourselves that we can do it. What are we even up against? We are up against a little bit of PD. Van decided to not stick around in here. So this fight is not probably really going to be a fight. Huacas, Supayas, they're just going to melt this stuff. Easy peasy. Old Man Mountains. A victory. Alm attacks in Star Peaks. Let's see what we got. We've got a couple of Guardians. Hell yeah. And we also have a Vampire Lord that's kitted out here. Familiar. Hello. How's it going? Van Jarl here in the background, though. What's he going to be doing? Okay, Van has engaged the vampire. Now the Van Jarl's kind of getting trampled around. And focused down by Guardians and the vampire. Yeah, this is just a matter of overwhelming force, right? There's way more here to take on this singular Van Jarl than otherwise, so... Absolutely supreme victory there. We get attacked in Amul. Little stack of Einherr. We've got an Enchantress. We've got a Shaman. We've got a whole bunch of Hatan Runa, some Supayas, some Long Dead. Body Ethereal, Moss Bodies, all this stuff coming out. We got some Air Elementals coming out. Those Air Elementals are probably going to do the majority of the work here. Hatan Runa, Supaya mix. Not doing too bad. Not doing super great, but not doing too bad. Supaya is doing a little bit of paralysis work for us. 1 Enchantress dead. The Shaman actually got out. 20 Einherrs killed. We lost some Air Elemental sizes, some Hatan Runa. No big deal. We attack in White Forest. This is a Lich and a Huron Priest leading just a bunch of Nazcan Long Dead. Oh, we are up against quite a bit, though. We've got a fair amount of PD. We've got a little Jaguar Tribe Shaman in there. We've got some Vine Ogres and some Van Jarls in the back. A Windmaster as well. Another Van Jarl. Another Windmaster. So, this seems bad. Mistform, let's see what they're doing. Mistform, Blessing, Mistform, Blessing, and Mistform, Lightning Bolts, Flight, coming up. Okay, so both of our Van Jarls are coming up, and they do come down in the backfield, so we need to drain life. Get a drain life. Oh, didn't get a chance to do anything. Just got annihilated. That's okay. Lose a Huron Priest, lose a Lich. Take out 1 Einherr. Hell yeah. Fully equal trade. Things are going well. We get attacked in Centennia by a Van Jarl with a Firebrand. We've got Iron Skin, Timber Flesh, Blessing. This guy is going to... The problem with this whole scenario is this guy is going to delete these Hatan Runa prior to this Huron Priest getting in range to do anything. This Huron Priest could do something, right? Horde of Skeletons comes out. Another Horde of Skeletons comes out, and then he just flies, right? So the problem is being too far back and casting too many spells rather than just being on like advance and cast spells, meaning that we don't actually get to the point to where our Huron priests try to take out. They could potentially disintegrate or drain life a Van Jarl down, but we have them in poor positions, so that's something to keep in mind. Not that it probably matters in this game, but something to keep in mind for future references, right? We've got 2 liches with some little long dead guards. We've got a shaman here. Got some a Van Jarl doing some soul slaying. Soul slay, mind burn, soul slay, mist form, flight comes up, lands near one lich, gets got. That lich drains life, right? Drain life. Oh, nope, you're drain life in the wrong targets. Now you're getting got. Okay. Did we soul slay? Did we get the Van Jarl? Did he fly away? Good question. He flew away. So 1 lich for 9 Einhairs. Not worth. Alright. A whole bunch of little back and forth scenarios there. Only really one big battle, and it wasn't our battle. It was Vanheim versus Mudwood. So we're going to talk more about that here in a little bit. But for now, we have... Was that correct? So I think I left this on here. So let me edit. So yeah, battles for the turn versus Van. We have 5 wins and 4 losses. Actually, went the better for us, but that's because these are a lot of really low commitment, no stakes fights. That Van's just kind of noodling around with us, dancing around with us, and they're dealing legitimate damage where we're really not. So, is what it is. We got a couple of events this turn. So we've got in Gulm, we have another rebirth event in Mammoth Grove. An omen was seen that spoke to the decline of Odysseus. Go figure. Rumors of this ill omen have spread widely. So Dominion -3. In Troll Sea, famine has struck the land. People are starving and begging in the streets, so we get unrest, minus population, and minus gold. And then in Mark, a great fertility festival was celebrated in the province. We get growth and income. So events for the turn, we get 2 negative and 2 positive. Gulm, population plus 300. Gulm, income plus 1. Mammoth Grove, Dominion -3. Troll Sea, unrest plus 78, which is massive. Troll Sea population minus 930. Gold minus 71. Mark growth plus 2. And Mark income plus 3. Not very good for the turn, honestly, there. Pretty negative. But also at this point in the game, I don't think most of these things matter too terribly much. We got a Malqui and a Malqui Priest, which we'll hit up in the Nazcan recruit sections. And we go to the thing and we can see, hoya, that's a lot of red arrows. The time be now. It be the time. It is turn 105. And we're hitting 3 of Van's thrones. We are going to throw the kitchen sink at 3 of Van's thrones, and we're going to cross our fingers and see how it goes. We are going to be targeting Cern. We're going to be targeting Satala. And we are going to be targeting Mudwood, not Viserion Arches. So we had talked about this last turn about targeting Viserion Arches because Pelagia, our ally in theory, right, was already on Mudwood, and we weren't gonna try to fight them and then fight Van, but Van's already fucking done that for us. So Mudwood is the easier target for us to hit with multiple different teleportation spells, Stygian paths, astral travel, cloud trapeze, etc. So we can send more here to Mudwood than we can to Viserion Arches. Also, Mudwood is cracked, so is Viserion Arches, but Mudwood is cracked, and that means that if Van has committed forces to Mudwood and doesn't have forces around, should we annihilate this army, Mudwood could be an easy in for us. Don't necessarily know that that's going to be the case, but could be. So, we had a lot of moving parts and pieces here. It's going to take a lot to go over all of the stuff. So rather than do that, which I think is a little bit of a fucking red herring, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go run down our list of mechanicals, reportables, that type of thing. And then we're going to focus in on each of the different targets, and we'll talk about what's actually going into each of those targets, okay? So first things first, we're going to do recruits for the turn. Recruitment, 1 Lizard Shaman, 1 Malqui Priest, and 4 Sun Guard. Just whatever. The Lizard Shamans we have because they're on auto recruit and I didn't unselect it. The Sun Guard, because they're on auto recruit and I didn't unselect it. The Malqui Priest, because I don't know. I don't even remember where the fuck that Malqui Priest is being recruited. Over in Obelshin, because we're like, maybe if we do win one of these things, we will want to protect the thrones we have. I don't fucking know. I sincerely doubt that it's going to matter, but it is what it is, right? The recruitment happened, not really super relevant. Nazcan recruits for the turn. We have 1 Malqui Mummy, 1 Malqui Priest Mummy, and then we had 46 Haten Runa. We had 318 Long Dead Warriors, which is significantly less than what we have had in the past couple turns. That is because we are moving the majority, not the majority, but we're moving a lot of people that we're reanimating because they're participating in fights, right? And then we actually only have 3 recalled Supayas because almost all of our Royal Malquis are on the move, except I would say all of our Royal Malquis are on the move or teleporting or something along those lines. The only recaller not doing that is our Prophet, Calypso. She's staying in the capital, because why the fuck not, right? So we have that, which is cool. Bunch of fun shifts there. We do still have a couple special recruits. We have our Direwolves and our Dustwalkers. Our Direwolves have seen a little bit of action. Our Dustwalkers likely will not see action before the end of the game. So that is what it is. They're just too far away, and unless Van decides to attack us, which they've basically explicitly stated that they have 0 interest in offensive wars, they're definitely going to just defend and dom kill the game, right? Which you can see they're doing a real good fucking job of it. We've lost Dominion in our capital now. We've lost Dominion in Neepal. We have almost max fucking candles in Amul. Actually, that might be max candles. Same over in Obelshin, getting our ass kicked there. We're getting pushed back on all fronts. We could do more to resist this, by the way. We could be producing and moving heretics into different locations. We could be producing more Huron priests, and we could just be preaching with way more people across the board. We could stagnate this, right? We could try to put all of our money into either into temples, or into Huron priests for more preaching. We could have all of the people who can preach in different provinces preaching in those provinces. We could draw this out, but it would just be drawing this out, right? Like, inevitably, Van would be able to do more than we could. They have more than land than we do. They have more options for Dominion pushing than we do. So that's just again, that's a tactic that is just going to delay things. It's not going to actually win us things. So I don't think that matters in the long run or in the short run at this point, right? because we now have a timer on the game, right? We've got like 15 turns left at most, and I don't think it's going to be 15 turns before we know who has won. Either we're going to get really lucky here, or Van is basically the winner because our power is broken in the next 2 to 3 turns, right? Next up we have, we'll kind of package these two together. Rituals for the turn, 2 teleports, 11 cloud trapezes, 1 Stygian paths, 2 manifestations, and 1 astral travel. And then immediately after that we have forging 1 demon bane. So, almost all of this, actually, I say all of the rituals are movement rituals except for the 2 manifestations, which are actually intended to be popping rituals. They're just luck baiters, basically. We'll talk more about that here in a second. And then the Demon Bane was just for shits and giggles. You can see we basically have used all of our gems. Every army that we are sending, all of the different teleportations and astral travels and Stygian paths and the empowerments recently. We're sending everything that we can in every scenario that we can, and we're using almost all of the items that we can. We'll talk about these slave matrices here in a second. We'll talk about some of the pin gear, the blood gear, and the arcane lenses are kind of what they are. So, let's talk about these, I think, in order of potential success, and not really importance, but potential success. I think the least successful option is going to be Sitala. So, you can see we have a couple of little attacks going elsewhere around Sitala. This is mostly just Haten Runa stuff. It's actually all just Haten Runa stuff. And doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. It was just something that I could do, so I'm doing it. Right? We have quite a few units coming into Amul, most of which are Aklas. So that'll be a backup plan. And then actually moving on to Sitala, we have a pretty big stack of units, right? We have a stack of 100 Supaya, mixed stack of Huakas and Sun Guard. We have 45 Condors coming in, 40 Supayas, 40 more Supayas, a bunch of Long Dead, a bunch more Haten Runa, a couple sprites. That's the mix as far as units go. And then we're kitted out with basically most of the things that we can accomplish, right? We're going to be doing Will of the Fates. We're going to be doing Fog Warriors, Wailing Winds, Demon Cleansing, which I do think is probably one of the more important things here. Mass Regeneration. We're going to have a lot of Quickening come out. We're going to have Gaia's Blessing come out. We're going to have Army of Gold come out. We have as much protection across the board as we can on people. We have Demon Banes, right? Trying to make people resistant to flames from the sky. We have differing amounts of gear on all of the different people that we can. We are not fully stacked. We will lose people to things like Flames from the Sky or Murdering Winter, but we're kind of just doing what we can as best we can. This is a lot to send at Sitala, but Sitala does have wall integrity 1500. This is the smallest stack coming in at... It's going to be, I think, around 1650 or 1700 when all is said and done. But there's a lot of enemies here, right? So it's possible that we don't pop Sitala in a single turn. And that's an issue, right? That's a mistake. Because that's a mistake on where we placed our units. And actually, like, this gateway kind of messed with our decision making there in the last like 5 turns or so, because basically if we don't pop Sitala but we do pop CERN, what that means is that Vanheim can just focus on CERN the next turn and leave Sitala for a turn later, which is not a good thing, right? That's we want to force decisions. So we have tried to outfit our units here with things like gate cleavers. and we're trying to fly in or run in as much as we can. We're bringing in additional Hutton Runa. We're bringing in additional undead from nearby provinces. But I don't know that it's going to matter. I don't know that it's going to make the difference. And even if that wasn't the scenario, Vanheim might just be able to beat us in a straight one-on-one fight. There's a lot of storm demons here. There's a lot of corpse constructs. There's obviously going to be a lot of just general mages. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of PD here for the last couple turns of Gifted Nature's Bounty. So this is the one that I think is probably the least likely to succeed, and it's pretty important that it does succeed, at least in cracking the fort, because if it doesn't, then that's a lot of pressure pulled off of Van for other potential options. So we're doing what we can, but I don't know that that's gonna work out, right? So that's that kind of situation. No crazy tricks or anything like that. This is really just big late game battlefield scenarios. I will say this. If we talked about this last turn with Van, if Van doesn't have multiple Flames from the Sky casters in Sitala, in CERN, doesn't have Murdering Winter casters in the provinces, and doesn't have enough troops in the province to make the difference in that turn, that could be a good thing for us, because we know Van has a lot of domes up, right? So having those domes up can actually be a double-edged sword if you don't have the things in the province that you need. But at this point, the way Van has played throughout this game gives me no indication that Van is not fully prepared for something like this. So we'll see how it goes. Sitala, I have some doubts about. I will say this, in those rituals, we have the 2 teleports, 11 Cloud Trapeze, 1 Stygian Paths, 2 Manifestations, 1 Astral Travel. Some of those are actually being targeted at Sitala and CERN to see if we can pop some domes, right? To see if we can get a lucky magic phase in, right? Because if he has stuff patrolling, and we do get a lucky magic phase in through the domes, that could actually cause some problems on his end, right? So we're kind of throwing out expendables, right? To see if we can pop some domes or get a lucky magic phase, movement phase in through the domes to see what we can do there, right? So we've got that going on. Sitala, I think, is getting a Golem, which is kind of whatever, and I think is also getting a Royal Malqui, which is just coming in to do Doom, I think, actually. So not really expecting it to even succeed, right? Expecting to bounce off of domes, probably potentially die, right? Though we have some cold resistance and fire resistance. But yeah, so there's that. And then we're actually doing the same thing for CERN. We're sending in a Cloud Trapezing Doomer, but we're also sending in a Cloud Trapezing Wind of Death caster at CERN. So if we can pop through CERN with the Wind of Death caster, that would be really nice. We're also doing 2 manifestations, right? Both at CERN, because I think CERN is the higher chance of success. So we're trying to commit to the higher chance of success. And if we can pop those domes, right, like if Manifestation goes off prior and we pop the dome, that might give us a higher chance of the Cloud Trapeze with Wind of Death going through, which could be important, right? So, anyways, other things that we've got going on. We are attacking CERN. CERN is the second big thing that we're kind of doing here, right? And CERN is the one that we can commit way more to. As you can see, we've got way more coming in. And not only do we have way more coming in on this turn, we have more backup coming in. Because the other thing that we're doing, so we talked about this, we're sending in a lot of Aklas and some Huron Priests and some extra undead into Amul. We're doing the same thing in Neefel, right? Like anything that we couldn't get this turn that we can get next turn is going to Neefel and to Amul, right? So this is what's going into Amul this turn, and then this is what's going into into CERN this turn. This is what's going into Neefel this turn. So we have a bunch of additional undead, some additional Supaya, a bunch of additional mages basically coming in. A shit ton of Aklas flying in, honestly. And with that, we're going to potentially try to do some Pillars of Fire, right? One fire gem does Phoenix Power, does Pillar of Fire. Maybe we get lucky and we can nuke some people, right? But we're also trying to do some other things. We've got a vampire coming in for Rush of Strength. We've got potentially we're going to use some of those Aklas as the carriers for slave matrices to try to do master and slave play. It's just, we're trying to throw everything that we can into the situation. In CERN, this is much the same thing as Satala, just more, right? We just have more of everything. We have way, way, way more undead. We have way more Supayas. We have way more Huakas. We have way more Sun Guard. We have a couple of little stacks, not stacks, but we have a couple of the Vile Waters, the Gelatinous Cubes. We have some Great Eagles mixed in there. I'm pretty sure we are guaranteed to pop CERN in a single turn. And this is what I was talking about, which is kind of like a problem, because this mountain range is a big fucking issue for us, because we can't make it to Satala with a lot of the forces that we otherwise would have been able to make it with. So we've been kind of struggle busing, and that's naturally made it to where we have more heavily fortified in Neefel than we have in Amiul. And so this mountain range and this Gateward Valley killing undead, we have had a tendency over the last 20 turns or so to not send as much undead up towards Amiul, because we have to go this long around section, which is a pain in the ass. And it's harder to fly up there because of the forest and the mountain pass, or the mountains. So it's just been more of an issue. So whereas we have like 1600, 1700 siege strength, I think, going at Satala, I think we've got like 3000 plus going at CERN. It's almost, unless we just immediately face a shit ton of resistance and everything in the world is there, we're absolutely going to pop CERN in a single turn. Almost no questions asked, which is a problem. We should have had closer to 2k here and 2k here, which would have given us a much better chance of popping both in a single turn, but it is what it is. We're also going to have Pachacuti going in, right? The big leader, 590 leadership at the end of the game, 553 experience. This guy is so fucking kitted out. I love him to death. He is diseased, but he has, a shit ton of fire resistance. He has a little bit of cold resistance. He should survive into the battle. So we'll see him hopefully spawning his little earth elementals every turn and trying to do whatever the fuck he can. So we got that going on. We've also got Mama Pacha going in. Strength of Gaia going up, relief going up, all of the other normal things, Wailing Winds. We do have a bunch of Sylphs in this army, Fog Warriors going up. I think we also have all of our Earth Gnomes in this army. We've got a fair amount of Pillar of Fire already coming out on some of the Aklas that are here. Will of the Fates, all of the shenanigans, etc., etc. So the situation is going to be this, right? In both Satala and CERN, Satala's concern is that we don't crack the fort in a single turn, right? Not that we're not threatening, but that we don't crack the fort in a single turn. But I think the bigger concern for both Satala and CERN is whether or not Van even faces us, right? If Van faces us in open battle, then maybe we could win, which would be really cool. I still think Van has the advantage because they are probably using better units at this point, and because they have more mages than we do. They've had more mages, they will continue to have more mages. Things like mass air elementals is going to be a real pain in the ass for us. their Van Jarls and Van Heers are just very strong. It is just, it's a problem, right? So I think even in out and out like open fights, Van probably still has the advantage. But in an open fight, at least we do have some sort of like recourse, right? Like we have actual troops and mages and actions that we can take. My concern is that we don't even get to those scenarios, right? Like my concern is we move on to Satala, we move on to CERN, and they get nuked from orbit, and the forces that are actually there, right? There's, I think, going to be close to 3,000 units on CERN. And I think I'm concerned that we'll be lucky to have 400 units by the time a fight actually happens. So that's kind of that situation. And then we're gonna real quick talk about we've got movement over here, moving into kind of like protecting Blackport, but most of that's just idle movement. Most of these Aklas are moving into Neefel, and they'll be a big part of reinforcing CERN next turn, right? Because the idea is going to be, we move on to these locations, if he novas them, right, we move stuff on the same turn he's novaing, because his magic will hit before our movement hits. So maybe we can help reinforce some of the missing units there, right? Fingers crossed. I don't fucking know. We'll see how it goes. But we have to send enough to guarantee that we break them, or try to guarantee that we break the fortifications this turn, because if we don't, then there's no threat for him to do anything other than nuke us, and then nuke us again, and then nuke us a third time, right? So we're sending basically as much as we can from all of these different locations. And then the last thing is Mudwood, right? So we saw what is here at Mudwood. We know that there's Fiends of Darkness here. We know that there's Storm Demons here. And we know that there's a fair little chunk of forces here from Vanheim. We are... Does it show? We can't do that. So we've got to go around each place. So we are cloud trapezing 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, I think 7. 7 fucking Royal Malquis into Mudwoods, right? Most of these Royal Malquis are set up to just do Pillars of Fire, right? They're very good at doing that, I've found out. They can do a lot of other stuff, but we don't have the reinforcements for them to be doing other stuff. So instead, they're very good at just going summon Phoenix Power, Pillar Fire, Pillar Fire, Pillar Fire, Pillar Fire, and just very quickly generating a shit ton of damage out of nowhere, right? So we've got like 7 Royal Malquis doing that. Then we have this Koya Pacharuna doing an astral travel at Mudwood, bringing in 80 Sun Guard, 140 Supayas, and 65 Huakas, with another 5 Sun Guard as guards. She's coming in with the Will of the Fates. We have Mama Runa over here, who is going to be our Earthcaster, teleporting in. And she is doing the Army of Gold stuff, all of that shenaniganry. We have our God coming in, doing a Stygian Paths, leading in another 215 Supayas, another 41 Huakas, and we're just bringing some fucking Kidnids because they were there, and we had the space, and that's what it is. We should be bringing these bears. I don't know why we're not bringing these bears, but whatever. We didn't bring the bears. And our god is coming in to do Gaia's Blessing, and very importantly, Demon Cleansing. So, because we know the vast majority of the units that are here are demons, and we have a very large amount of Sun Guards. We fucking produce these fuckers for 100 turns. Not quite, but close. Because we knew going into the late game 3 times versus demons, we knew it was very likely that whoever we faced if we made it to the late game would be using demons. This fucking Sun Guard, if it hits a demon, can kill a demon in 1 hit through protection. It fucking matters, right? Absolutely. So this is the Sun Guard's time to shine. Obviously, the Huacas are still good. The Supayas, we have a massive amount of them. They're still good. But the Sun Guard is really the big important kind of like component here is can we get the Sun Guard into combat with those demons and annihilate them? Very importantly, while we do have quite a bit of siege strength coming out of these Supayas and Huacas and Sun Guard, we don't need it for Mudwood because the fort is already broken. We just need to win. We need to teleport in and win. Now, we are missing one component. We're also cloud trapezing a Inca in just to do various shenanigans. They were close enough to cloud trapeze in, basically. We have our Thula I was intending on bringing her, but I actually sent her to the wrong location last turn. So we can't bring her. So she's actually going to be going to Obelshin this turn, and then she'll be there next turn because next turn we're probably going to Stygian Paths in more units with Death Jest. So again, the assumption being is if we win, right, we might be able to win, and then Vanheim might just orbital bombard us, and then try to send in whatever he can to clean things up. If we can also send things in to help defend against that, then maybe we have a chance of actually taking the throne. So we got that scenario. That's really it. So I'm not gonna go into every single setup or all of the different mixes necessarily. Next turn is gonna be a bunch of watching battles. And the turn after that is probably going to be a bunch of watching battles. So the next 2 turns should be non-stop action. And as soon as we're done with those 2 turns, it should be an answer of, okay, well, we somehow managed to steal the win on this game. Or it should be, Van definitely wins now, right? I think actually in this moment, Mudwood might be a shining beacon for us because I do think we have what we're throwing at Mudwood is capable of defeating that army. But I don't know if Van is prepared to lose this army and then also delete another army and then engage another army, right? So if we can get into Mudwood, we only need to win Cern or Satala. Most likely, though, we're not going to have big fights in Cern or Satala next turn. I don't think there's much of a reason for... I think Van will be patrolling with some stuff to gem bait and to kind of catch people, right? But I don't think there's much reason for Van to be patrolling with overwhelming force when he could just sit back and wait and reinforce when he needs to reinforce. So probably what we'll get is we'll get minor battles in Satala and Cern next turn, and we'll get a big battle in Mudwood next turn. And if we win in Mudwood and we have broken Cern, and fingers crossed if we've broken Satala, but I don't think we'll break Satala. Even if we just win in Mudwood and we break Cern, that still forces Vanheim's hand, right? Because that means he has to deal with those 2, or else we could win on the following turn, basically. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. I'm very excited. This was a very long episode. We'll see how things happen in the next session, in the next turn, 106. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.